So welcome to dotnetFlix, live from Techorama, and we are here with the man in the black shirt, Mr. Donovan Brown. Thank you, Donovan, for joining us in our little cozy podcast.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah. Fresh from the stage.
Fresh from the stage.
Just
awesome.
finished. Yeah.
So can you give a little bit of an introduction for the people who may not know you?
Yeah, so my name is Donovan Brown. I'm a principal DevOps manager at Microsoft. I am on the cloud developer advocacy team, and I run our DevOps team. So I went and picked what people call the league, which is basically 5 people who all love DevOps but come from completely different backgrounds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I heard the .NET Rust that you did with Richard and with Carl.
Yeah.
And like you said, actually, you could pick the team you want. So
Yes.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an opportunity you simply could not pass up, right? And I had like this dream team in my head. I was like, oh man, I know who I would go get. And I only missed one person, right? One person didn't join, but other than that, I got everyone else that I wanted.
Awesome.
Yeah, the team it's one of the most. Professionally, it's one of the things I'm most proud of. Being able to assemble that team.
Okay. And what kind of things do you do with the team? Do you visit a lot of places in the world?
It was really interesting. We're all disparate. So Damien Brady lives in Australia, right? So it's hard to get him everywhere that we are together. Jessica lives in California. Steve lives in Milwaukee. Abel lives in Redmond, and I live in Houston. Right?
Wow.
So it was interesting I think it was a conference in Florida. Was the first time we'd ever all been together at the same time. It was really cool because we'd been together for almost probably 7 months, but none of us had ever all been in the same place at the same time. And it was really cool because we went to the event and people were taking pictures like crazy. Like, this is the first time the league has all been in the same place.
It's like the Avengers have a
Exactly. It's like, wow, this is really cool. And then we did this panel, and there's like really great pictures of all 5 of us just lined up. It's like, that was a really special event. And then we did it again at Build. And if you go to the league's website, we have a website. If you go to the website and you go to the About Us page, there's a video of us at Build. And that was so cool because the community was like asking, like, are you all really at Build together? Like, yeah, we're all here. It's like, can we meet you? We're like, okay, sure, we'll come to the booth tomorrow morning. And next thing you know, there's like people just waiting for us at the booth.
Oh, cool.
We all walk in, and the Channel 9 people made this amazing video of us. Like, this is awesome. So it's been an amazing ride being on the league.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
So you guys are working on DevOps stuff because that's pretty important, and I see also lots of our customers also going into DevOps. And, I think it's very good that people think it's important now that you need something like that. Can you tell us something about the recent rebranding of VSTS to Azure DevOps?
Great. So it's more than a rebranding, but that's how everyone sees it. It's a rebranding. We didn't just change the name.
No.
We also changed the way that you acquire the product itself.
Exactly.
Because historically, when you had it as VSTS, you got everything. And even if you didn't want to work item tracking, it was right there in the navigation. Even if you were using Issues or Jira. If you were using GitHub, you still had our Git repositories. And I can't tell you how many times I was working on an open source project, so the code's in GitHub, but I'm inside of VSTS and I see the Git logo, so I click it and there's no code there. And I like panic, like, oh my god, what's all about that? Oh yeah, it's in GitHub. So the navigation was there very confusing because it had features I wasn't even using. So what we did is we realized that, and we now let you acquire each of the services individually.
Nice.
So if you know your code is going to be in GitHub, you no longer have to see our Git repos in your navigation.
Oh, cool.
The majority of the people want pipelines if they're coming from GitHub. And another thing that's cool is instead of having to go to us to get the service, you can go into the marketplace on GitHub. And there's a Azure Pipelines, and you click it, we'll wire everything up for you automatically.
Yeah, cool.
We give you 10 free pipelines. We give you unlimited build minutes on Mac, Windows, and Linux, and it's all available right there in the GitHub Marketplace.
Pretty cool.
And if you only want our work item tracking, if you only want our artifacts, you can take just the parts that you want, which is really nice.
And that's free for open source projects.
Yes, exactly. So if you're an open source project on GitHub, it is absolutely free to use our pipelines. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of people don't know is that Azure DevOps is free anyway.
Yeah.
Right? For example, let's say we wanted to start a startup. We can literally go to dev.azure.com, create an account, and just do our startup without paying a single cent for the products.
Oh, we got a technician.
Cut right there. Yeah. We're going to do a nice edit there for sure.
Okay.
So we're back in the air.
Yeah, so we were talking about the rebranding, right? And the fact that you could acquire it in the bits and pieces that you want, which is
and the fact that Azure DevOps is a free product.
Yeah, it's free. So a lot of people didn't know that.
We were about to start a startup, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you were in.
Yeah, so
And you invited us. So I know that.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it on tape.
We got it on tape.
So you and 4 of your buddies, right, can go and create an account for free and just start using it. It's the 6th person that you add, that's where we start charging. And I think it's like $9 a month.
Yeah.
It's really, really cheap. And what's interesting is that if you already have an MSDN subscription, you don't count against the 5. Right. Everyone with MSDN is free.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not free. They paid for the MSDN, so they're getting Azure DevOps for free. And then it's 5 non-MSDN subscribers you can add for no dollars.
And then you've still got the stakeholder level.
Yeah, that's just completely free. Right? Stakeholder you never pay for, right? You can add as many stakeholders as you want for no money.
Yeah.
They basically have a reader type of access.
Right.
I believe they can create work items, but they can only see the work items that they create.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a limited scope, but that doesn't cost anything either. So it's really cost effective for what you get. I don't know why we give it away for free. It's freaking awesome, right? I think we could charge a ton of money for it, but we just don't, right? Because the tools should be there to enable you to get to Azure, which is what we want, right?
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're trying to give you the platform that you need that works for any language and any platform. So Azure DevOps, even though it has Azure in the name, is not just for Azure, right? That's one of the things that I think I'm going to have to fight really, really hard is that there's a plugin in our marketplace for AWS.
Yeah.
You can use Azure DevOps to deploy to another cloud, which is important because a lot of our customers have a multi-cloud solution, right? They don't want to have all their eggs in one basket or the other, so we need to be able to help them deploy to Azure and to AWS and even possibly GCP or something else so that they know that, no, I only have one tool chain, but I can deploy to all the platforms.
Yeah.
Mobile, Raspberry Pis, IoT, AWS, Azure, like wherever you want to deploy, Azure DevOps can get.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for the adoption of these kinds of tools.
Absolutely.
It must be frictionless, it must be almost like commodity. You can use it and then people start using it. And once they use it, they see the importance of it. So
and customers are always afraid for vendor locking.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
openness is very important.
Yeah, and that's another reason that we feel that giving it to you piecemeal, you don't have to rip and replace what you have. I hear a lot of people say, man, but we already use Jenkins. I'm like, don't stop using Jenkins.
Yeah.
Right? That's fine. Like, what you can do is you can take from our pipelines just the release portion and say, I want to pick up my packages from Jenkins, and we'll just wire it up for you, right? And every time
it becomes an artifact in the pipeline and you can just roll it out.
Exactly. So every time your Jenkins project finishes, Release Management just wakes up, grabs the package, and deploys it to whatever platform that you want. So you don't have to get rid of Jenkins to start using Azure DevOps. Just as like you don't have to get rid of Bitbucket or GitLab, whatever your Git repository is, even if you're using Subversion, you can stay there and still use our pipelines, our work item tracking, our package management, our test case management.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be able to use as much or as little as you like.
And we need to get these words out, right? Because lots of customers don't know
They
this.
have no clue.
They think about, VSTS is this big thing that you need to buy licenses for them, and so it's also a kind of a hurdle that they have to take now. And I think that we need to tell people this. So this is awesome that you're
awesome.
on our podcast.
It's an awareness issue.
Exactly.
Right? People simply are not aware of what's available and that it costs next to nothing to use.
Yeah.
And they assume, oh, Microsoft, that's just .NET on Windows. Like, you could not be more wrong.
Yeah.
Right? I can't remember the last time I did a .NET demo. I do Node.js, I do Java, I do every language. But not because I don't love .NET, I do.
Yeah.
It's just to prove to you that I can do this for Node, I can do this for Go, I can do this for Python.
I do a lot of demos of .NET, but it's just in Linux containers.
Exactly.
Because it's most convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different world. And if you talk about, like you said, it's not just the rebranding. You now have all the individual pieces. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about within your own organization? Because was it already separate parts and you deployed it as a single product, or was it actually split up into separate parts?
So originally it was a monolith.
Okay.
So VSTS, now Azure DevOps, started off as TFS. And TFS was a monolith, right? You installed it on-prem, everything was there, there was no way to turn any of it off. So what we did is we lifted and shifted it into the cloud, and then we started teasing parts apart, right? So we're trying to take a monolith and tease it apart into microservices. So when we added new services like Release Management, we didn't add it to the monolith. It's always set external to that. And we want to take build, we want to take package management. I think package management is actually on the outside as well because it was added later. So we have like 30 microservices today, but we still have a major part of it that is part of the monolith. And we're slowly teasing that apart. It gives us the flexibility to move faster. It allows us to rev on one product without having to rev everything else. I mean, it's the same benefits of any microservice architecture. And what we want to do is start taking advantage of that as well. So we started teasing them apart, not only from an architectural and technical aspect, but from a usability aspect as well. The navigation can be very intimidating and confusing, especially if you're only using one of the 5 things in there.
Yeah.
And so we wanted you to be able to streamline that. And what's really nice is turning it back on is literally just checking a box, right?
Exactly,
So when you outgrow issues, and issues are fine when you're getting started inside of GitHub, but a blank text box is a horrible way to define a bug or a feature, right? You need that guided, like, ask me questions, let me put in the right values, priorities, because you start tagging yourself to death, right, in issues, trying to figure out what priority it is, or if it's a bug or a feature. And inside of our work item tracking, they're proper entities with different anatomy that have different understandings and rules and behaviors, and that's what you want. A bug is not a feature, right? They're not similar at all, really.
Can you call my PO? This is a great talk. I tell them this all the time. It's just a bug. I think no, it's a change. It's a change or a new feature.
Exactly, it's completely different, and they'll be prioritized differently, right? And you need to be able to quickly identify what's a bug and what's not.
Maybe even a different workflow, right?
Definitely. And then, for example, even the anatomy of a bug is different than a feature. A bug has steps to reproduce.
Exactly.
And I need to know those. Not only do I need to know the steps to reproduce, I need to know what you expected it to do. Because you just can't say, this is what I did. And I'm like, that's what it's supposed to do. Right? What did you expect it to do? Oh, okay, now I understand where the disconnect is, right? Now, do we need to update our documentation, or is this truly a bug? But what you expected to do isn't what I thought you meant to do.
This sounds like a familiar conversation.
Right. But the thing is, the reason that's a familiar conversation is because your bug probably didn't ask that question. So you were just having to ask these questions when our bug knows that, they're going to forget to tell you what this is. So let's go ask them right now.
And in what version did you find it?
Exactly, what build it is in. We can find all that stuff for you. And the feature has an acceptance criteria. And to that feature, we can actually associate manual test cases that we're going to use to validate that. So it's a lot more than just, here's a list of ideas and issues. No, it's like, there's a workflow, there's a methodology behind how we do it.
It's not a task list, right? And it's now being used as a task list often.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Cool. So, one of the other big news coming out of Microsoft for the last couple of months ago was the acquirement of GitHub. And a question I get a lot of times, so when should I host my code on GitHub? Or when should I host my code on Azure repos?
And we get that question a lot, and I think it's interesting because before we decided to acquire them, everyone knew what the answers were, right? They was like, before they were going to acquire them, if you're doing open source, you go to GitHub. If you're doing private stuff, you go to Azure DevOps, at that time VSTS. And then we acquired them, like, oh my God, I don't know what the answers are. I'm like, the answers are the same as they were yesterday. Why the fact that we own them have you forgot what they're good at, right? It's really, really good at open source. If you want contributions and you want it to be in the open and you want people to contribute, GitHub is the place to do that, right? If you really want to have high control, you want to have high levels of security, you want to have high levels of traceability, right? Then you're probably going to want to put it inside of our Git repository because it automatically links with our test cases, it automatically links with our build and our release. So when you need high levels of traceability, our repository is much better today than GitHub. Now, the fact that we acquired GitHub means that traceability is probably going to get really, really good. Exactly. So the integration there is going to be really good so that traceability won't be the deciding factor. But public contributions, the pull request experience, some people are just going to naturally be more comfortable in GitHub, and some people are going to be more comfortable in what we do. So, and right now, I don't believe that GitHub has GDFS support yet. I believe it's coming. So if you're doing Windows-sized GitHub repository, you got to come to us, right? Because we're the only people who can handle a 350 gigabyte Git repository. So those are the type of decisions that you ask. It's not Microsoft owns them both, so put it anywhere. Like, no, they're both really good at certain things, and you need to figure out what gives you the most value.
Right. And I think one reaction I see quite some time is that people think, okay, so now they've acquired GitHub, they will probably drop their own existing product.
No, that is not the plan, right? We're going to keep running GitHub as an independent organization, right? I believe from everything that I've heard, the name is going to stay the same. It's going to be this thing like LinkedIn, right? A lot of people don't realize we own LinkedIn, right? But because it's still LinkedIn, we haven't changed any of the stuff. We're going to do the exact same thing with GitHub as well. And so we're not going to try to make them one product, right? It would lose all the value of buying GitHub, right? Because there's people who are going to hate the fact that we did it, because here Microsoft is trying to turn the product into something that it's not. And there's people who like VSTS and TFS, and they want that level of security and control and permissions, and we give it to them. So I don't know of any plans to get rid of either one of them.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay. So, Donovan, thank you very much. This has been great.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yep.
Till next time.
Later.
Bye-bye.